I went to the Canadian office in Dublin, and the guy told me, he says, you never left Canada. I thought he was joking. And I says, oh, I did, you can feel me. You know. He says, I'm not kidding. You have no documentary evidence that you left Canada.
The whole family or just you?
Me. Just my passport. You see, when I crossed the border at North Dakota on the 75.
That's when you left the country?
Yeah. The guy, the man at the border, the American immigration or whatever you call it, he just took my passport and wished me a nice trip. And I was boarded a boat in New York, and the guy at the table, also in uniform, looked at it and wished me a pleasant voyage. I never put a stamp on it. Neither of them stamped it. It never occurred to me.
Yeah.
So we arrived in Ireland, and the Irish fellow came along, and he says, have a pleasant stay. And he didn't stamp it. So when I went to the Canadian office,
you must have that nice face, Dad.
I don't know. It just didn't occur to me. Anyhow, I asked him, what do I do now? Well, he says, the Canadian, in the Canadian office told me, if you go to the American lines and get a list of the passengers that came over on that ship, you know, we'll see. So I went right to the United States Lines office in Dublin, and I asked the man in charge, and he says, I couldn't do that. He says, I'd be fired. I'd get 2 minutes to get out of the place if I handed out a list of passengers.
Yeah.
So he said, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give you a letter stating that you were a passenger on board the America on such a day. So he did that, and I brought that back, and that satisfied him. I mean, what a stupid thing. I thought it never occurred to me that you'd have to have evidence.
Yeah.
Anyway. They should, every time you go through a place, that you should make sure it's stamped. Always.
Yeah.
Anyway, eventually, I asked them, I want to return to Canada as a returning immigrant. I don't want to emigrate again. So he advised me in the Canadian office. Well, he says, when you return to Canada now as a returning immigrant, no, if you emigrate again, a second time, or to go as an immigrant again, he says you save 20% of your fare and all that. So he says, when you arrive at the port of entry, which was Montreal,
right,
you ask to see the man in charge and tell him what you want to do. Like if I came back as a returning immigrant, as a returning resident, it would cost me 20% more. But I came back as an immigrant to Montreal, and I had the 20% thing right to Winnipeg.